Why are we called Negroes? Why are we deaf, dumb, and blind? Why is everybody making progress, yet we seem to be lagging so far behind? Why are we mistreated? Why are we in this condition? Stripped of our name, our language, our culture, our God, and our religion. Here in America, all of our religious training has been gotten by the preacher. He has told us of a heaven way up in the sky that we can't enjoy now, but rather after we die.
And we are live.
Yes, we are.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, walaikum salam.
Oh my God, I want to start off in the most holy name of Allah, always bearing witness that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. I would like to greet you all in the greeting words of peace and paradise in the beautiful Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Listen, so you ever had a dream that really never came true, but you still want to do the dream? This is always been my dream and inspiration to be a photographer. What? The Khalida want to be a photographer? Yes, I want to be a photographer. You do everything. Yes, I want to do photography too. But with that being said, I had to get that out, y'all. I'm sorry. I had to get that out. So with that being said, we have a special guest that she has captivated the art of photography. And like I told her, I'm like an undercover fan. She didn't even know I was a fan. I was like all on her page, like, oh my God, look at that one, look at that one, look at that one. Well, I am. I'm definitely a fan. And you will see as this show continues. But I do not want to belabor the point. I want to introduce my wonderful pristine co-host. I have my brother, which is on the...
Which side is that?
on the left.
There you go.
Which is my right. Yeah.
To the left, to the left.
My dear brother, Brother Mark, who is, man, awesome. I could not think a lot enough for my dear brother, who's always been dear and true to whatever he put his mind to. And why not have a brother like that, who's not even my blood brother, but I promise you, you know what they say about Tupac? I must what the lyric is, we might fight or must be each other, but I promise you this, we'll burn this, get us. Oh, yes, that's my brother. All right.
That's a tribute there.
Yes. So that's my brother like no other. And with that being said, Assalamu alaikum, Brother Mark.
Walaikum salam, ma'am.
And my dear brother, oh my God, Brother Tony. Man. I don't think I'll even be in this little square if it wasn't for you and
All
your
praise due to Allah.
intelligence and your due diligence and your steadfastness
Always
and
striving.
your willingness and your sacrifice and your
Striving.
dedication. And I
Striving.
mean, I can go on and on and on. Without this brother, there would not even be an existing show. This brother is really,
Facts.
I mean,
Facts.
every time, I
Facts.
mean, anything I need as it relates to the show, I'm like, the first person I'm calling is Brother Tony. So
Resourceful.
I thank you so much, Brother Tony, just for just being my sister,
Yes.
being my brother, and for being a big brother to me, as I try and strive, as you indicate, to make sure that we are getting the content that we need to help save lives. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, man.
And listen, like I said, I'm excited about this show, y'all. I'm like
Yes,
so
ma'am.
excited. I'm like a little girl. I just can't wait because I've always dreamed to be a photographer. I took a couple of classes, but it's called reality, and I had children and I had a husband, and but
Yeah.
inshallah, now I might come back,
That it's not maybe, it's not
okay.
perhaps, it's when.
It's when.
It's when.
That's why
There you go. There you go.
That's why he's my brother, y'all. So I pray to Allah that this particular sister, I mean, honestly, when you see what she has blessed the world with, I mean, honestly, she's just gonna be like what they call when you see a Walmart sign. As soon as you see her logo, you be like, "Oh, I know who that is." So she is coming to a theater. So, but with
I know we're gonna have jokes about that, Sister Khalila.
of course, we'll have jokes. But I'm gonna pass the baton to you, Brother Tony. The floor is yours.
Yes, ma'am. All praise due to Allah. Dear family, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, the one God to whom holy praises are forever due, the Lord of the worlds, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, the Supreme Being to whom holy praises are forever due. I am forever thankful to Almighty God Allah for the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I thank them both for the star student of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad in our midst today, the one who's guiding the multitudes of our people, guiding our people to safety.
Yes, sir.
And as we seek to become like him in the goal and the mission of saving lives, in their divine names, I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be unto you. Buenas noches, Abaragani, free the land. Greetings in all of the languages that our people, our beautiful people, speak. Welcome to Thursday Night Talks, which is headed up by the 7th Region Coalition to Help Save Lives. The 7th Region Coalition to Help Save Lives was assembled and put together by our Student Regional Minister, Student Minister Patrick Muhammad, soon after the Criterion message of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and that took place in July 4th of 2020. At that time, we were warning our people about a dangerous experimental inoculation. I'm not even going to call it a vaccine.
Right.
And religiously, every Thursday, we had a program dedicated to exposing the truth and reality of that so-called vaccine. But now, dear family, we are still working together and guiding our people to safety through a vehicle, a medium that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave to us in 2005. And that was in the midst of the Millions More movement. That medium and that tool is called the 9 Ministries.
Yes, sir.
And the ministry that we are focusing on here tonight is the Ministry of Arts and Culture. The Ministry of Arts and Culture is the promotion of aesthetic, artistic, and cultural expression in a way that facilitates mental, emotional, and moral upliftment of the members of the society. It includes visual and performing arts, including but not limited to music, film, dance, drama, literature, poetry, visual arts, and sports. Audio-visual recording, presentations, competitions, and compilations in an annual festival of the arts. It extends to a wholesome sports culture for athletic competition and achievement. And so we look forward to hearing from sister, whom we'll be introducing in just a moment. Sister Kalila, what should our audience be doing right now? Don't be stingy. Dear family, make sure you share, you like this program, share it with those who you love, because this program here, what are you talking about? This is about photography. It's still about saving lives, and we're going to be talking about why exactly it is about saving lives. So be sure to do that. Just don't follow us on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube. Share the YouTube link with others that you care about. We need to build up our numbers on all these platforms.
That's right.
It is important that we are about the business of saving lives. Now, the beloved sister that we have joining us here tonight is a sister that's very dear to me. She's here in Miami at the 7th Regional Headquarters. The 7th region is the state of Florida. It is the Caribbean, Central, and South America. But here in Miami, this is the headquarter mosque where we have such a diverse group of people represented in the region. Our beloved sister represents that. And she is Sister Danielle Farrakhan. Sister Danielle Farrakhan is a visionary photographer and a renowned artist, known for her incomparable ability to capture the essence of her subjects. Her work transcends mere images, revealing the true spirit and humanity of the believers. With a profound understanding of both light and emotion, Sister Danielle produces images and evokes deep personal and soul-stirring meaning. Always meaningful and always mindful of the lasting impact of her work. She approaches her photography with a sense of historical importance and the influence it will have on future generations. Her unique perspective allows her to convey not just the external beauty of her subjects, but the internal faith and devotion that define their lives. Within her community, Sister Danielle's artistry continues to inspire, documenting the soul of a people with authenticity, grace, and an unwavering commitment to truth. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, and of course, enemies that may be tuning in as well, give a great round of applause.
You better back off.
That's right, our beloved sister, Sister Danielle Farrakhan. There she is. Hey, I gotta keep it real. The enemy's watching.
Listen, they always watching. They better get off.
Well, against you. You can't stop the show. Can't stop, won't stop. Sister Danielle, how are you today, beloved sister?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Oh, praises due to Allah.
Welcome.
Yes, sir.
It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Awesome to have you on. Let's get started, Sister Danielle. Sister Danielle, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us that when a picture is taken in a room, the first one we are looking for in the picture is ourselves. When you take pictures, how do you want those who are in the pictures to see themselves?
when I take photographs of people, my favorite photographs are the ones that people don't know I'm taking. So I tend to take pictures from distances and just when people are doing whatever they're doing. Um, because when people are their natural selves, I think that's when they're most beautiful.
Mm.
So I do that with that in my mind.
Mhm.
I've said this 1,000 times, but it's when I'm taking a picture of somebody from across the room or several feet away, you know, they're just doing they're just being so natural, and for me, I see I see so much beauty in that. And then the second they spot me, then they do this like goofy smile, and I'm like, don't do
Hilarious.
that. Like you just ruined everything. So just be yourself.
I don't do that to you, Sister Danielle.
But I want people when
That's
they
hilarious.
see their photo that I posted, I want them to say, wow, this is a beautiful photo. I really look beautiful because
Mhm.
it's right there. It's literally right there for me. So that's what I want them to see is their beautiful self in their natural state is their most beautiful self.
Mm.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, let's go a little further back, Sister Danielle.
Okay. Yes, sir.
This question deals with what was your first, if you can recall, your first photograph experience that convinced you that this is something you want to pursue?
So the first one that convinced me that it was something that I wanted to pursue was a photograph I took of the minister.
Ah.
Up until that, I was just taking pictures. But then I captured a particular moment and I thought to myself, this is something.
Mm.
And not in a wow, I'm an awesome photographer way, but this photo is beautiful.
Mhm.
This is so even thinking about it and like I prayed that I wouldn't burst into tears on this show. So let's all pull together and make that
I'm gonna
help
cry
me
with you, sister. I
strengthen that
promise you,
prayer.
I'm crying. I'm
Uplift me in
crying.
prayer so I don't but it's a photo that I believe I sent it, but it was from last year's convention, the
Mhm.
National Training Convention of 2023.
Yes, ma'am.
And I captured this moment where he just had his hand on his chest
Yeah.
and he looked at me and I don't know. I think I might have been 10 feet away from him and he just looked at me and when I put the SD card in my computer when I got back to the hotel and I saw it, I was like,
Mm.
I wanted the whole world to see it.
Mm.
Not necessarily look at what I took,
Right.
but look at the beautiful spirit because I
Mm.
feel like I was able to capture that in that moment. So
Mm.
that was when literally every photo up till that was just taking pictures. And then when I saw that, I was like, I want to do this on a bigger scale.
Mm.
Look
Wow.
what Allah has brought about.
Listen.
Yes, indeed.
Could I say something or add something? Because you just said something very interesting, Sister Danielle. You said, look at the beautiful spirit.
Mm.
So you're saying that your photograph is capturing an inner entity that normally you don't associate with visually seeing. So I just thought that was very remarkable that you said that. Could you comment on that?
I think that when I have always looked at photos, and I'm talking about back when I was a preteen, you know, looking at Cosmopolitan and Vogue, you know, or even before that, Jet, Ebony, you know, you would look at these pictures and look at these men and women. And, this was before we had social media and 30-second attention spans.
Right.
So you could look at something for a long time. I often joke about this, and I mean this, I'm not even trying to be crass, but our attention span is so short that we forgot that once upon a time we were in the restroom, we were reading the Glade can.
Right.
Remember?
Right.
We were reading like the scent, the ingredient, like that did it. That was plenty. But now our attention span is so short. So we need to be instant gratification and stimulation for 10, 15 seconds, and then it's on to the next thing.
Right.
And so, but back before that was the case, we would look at, a magazine and really look at the images and really take the time to study every part of it. And so, you would see these expressions and you could feel the photo. You could feel the photo. But it's almost like on social media, because we don't even buy magazines anymore, right? So we just see stuff on social media. And, you look at it for 5 seconds so you don't feel it because you scroll.
Right.
You're like, oh, that's cute. Oh, she's pretty. Oh, that's a nice dress. And then, you just keep going. But when you just take a minute to really allow it to your spirit to receive it, when you capture it I think that when you capture it with the right spirit, you're able to convey that.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You again, you said so much in that, and I do still subscribe to magazines. I still do collages by cutting out magazines because that was the thing. Sometimes you wanted to turn that magazine and see yourself in that magazine.
Yes.
And it was always something like, oh my God, oh man, I wonder how I would look in this, or what I would look in this. And, oh my God, this beautiful black girl with freckles, it was this uniqueness. And with your photos, there is a very uniqueness about it that kind of stands out. And really, when you have things that stand out, it will also stand a test of time. And I really admire you in regards to that, because like I said, I wanted to be a photographer. Inshallah, I get the opportunity to be, out of my many trillion hats. One of them I might have to rest in peace, one of them, in order to pursue photography. But I know that you indicated about that first photo that really said, you know what, let me take this on a whole nother level. But what motivated you to say, hey, you know what, today is the day? And maybe it wasn't a day, but it was a moment that you said, I'm going to be a photographer.
I remember it very well. I am technically not trained. I've never taken a class, a course, a workshop, or anything on photography. Everything that I learned it on YouTube or TikTok. If you follow the right, I say this all the time, if you follow the right accounts, you can really treat social media like a university rather than just like a source of ignorance, And so I don't watch television. I haven't watched television in, I don't know, like 12 or 14 years or something. I don't even remember. So when I do, I'm watching documentaries and things like that. I'll watch an occasional movie or show, just whatever. But I mean, I like to watch things that are educational. And so I watch a lot of photographers that talk about everything from cameras to lenses to settings to lightings to posing, so on and so forth. And so when I got my camera, Um, this one was the first one that I really got for myself.
Okay.
And so I had been shooting for 5 years before that, but I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know what setting it was. You know, these cameras have touch screens. If I accidentally tapped something, I was like, oh my God, I don't know what I did. It's like, it won't take a picture now. And I would just hand it off and then give it back and I can take, I had no idea. I was just shooting for 5 years like that. So then I said, you know, I'm going to get a new camera and I'm going to learn the camera. But it wasn't about learning photography. It was about learning settings. So I did. So I did that through YouTube, and by watching a particular photographer on YouTube named Jared Pollan. And Jared Pollan has been on YouTube for many years. I don't know exactly how many, but if you type in your camera, Jared Pollan has done an extensive review on it. And it will teach you what you just, everything, every button, everything you can think of. And so I found him on YouTube and I was just like, gosh, this guy is so, I'm so thankful for this guy because he's so good at explaining. Everybody's not good at explaining things, but he was fantastic at helping you to learn the camera because you can't really do anything unless you know what you're doing with your gear.
Right.
So I started watching him on YouTube, and then I went over to his Instagram because I wanted to see more of his work. So he has over 1 million followers. So when people have that many followers, reaching out to them is like impossible. They're not checking their messages. So anywho, I decided one day to go out on a limb and not email him, but send him a message on Instagram just to kind of say, thank you for your channel because you are really making me a better photographer. Actually, like all of your tutorials is helping me in my journey. And he wrote me back and he said, yeah, you know, hey, thanks so much, whatever. And so then he says, you should, Gordon Parks is one of my favorite photographers.
Yes.
And this is so embarrassing because I was like, oh, really? Is he on Instagram? Because I had no idea who he was talking about. He was like, no. But and so I was like, okay. So I did. Immediately, I Googled Gordon Parks and I realized that many of the famous photographs that we see of the Nation of Islam, MGT, FOI, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, are his photos.
Right.
Oh, wow. We've all seen photos. So I was like, oh, so that's Gordon Parks. So then I was like, Jared Pollan is, he's white. I believe he's Jewish. He has his channel, by the way, is Fro Knows Photo because he has a huge fro. So I started thinking, is he being funny? Because I figured he went to my page and saw me in the MGT, you know, and I'm like, wait, is he trying to be funny? You know what I mean? And then I thought, no, I think he's really trying to put me on to something here.
Right.
So I started studying Gordon Parks that day. And then because when I do research, I dig. Okay, I will research something to the hilt. So I started really studying Gordon Parks. And then when I realized that those photos of the messenger, many of those photos came from him, I thought, you know what? This is so much more important than I thought it was.
Yes.
2 days ago. 2 days ago.
Wow.
I thought it was this. And now I realize that this is bigger than that. And it was because he said that. And so that's where I realized that I had to kind of like check myself. Immediately I got defensive because I was like, why you got to bring up Gordon Parks because you saw me in the MG? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No, but you know what, Sister Danielle, that's so that's so important. Can I share a little story about Gordon Parks and his
Please,
photography? We
please.
had I work for two schools. I work for a public school and a private school. With
Okay.
the private school, one summer we went all the way to West Palm Beach to an art gallery, and they had pictures by Gordon Parks.
Oh
One
wow.
of them was won by the MGT, the national MGT captain at the time, which was Ethel Sharif. It was like that classic one that was
Yes.
she's in the center and all the MGT on
And they
the
were
side.
angled
And
out. Yes, sir.
my students saw this and froze and said, "What is this?" And it gave me the opportunity to teach. It's so extremely valuable that we document,
Mhm.
that we have documented and continue to document our own history.
Yes.
And through
Absolutely.
because those
Yeah.
are teachable
Absolutely.
moments.
There's power in those photos.
Yes.
Absolutely.
There is power
Absolutely.
when you see those photos, when you see the photograph of Muhammad Ali in the ring and he's praying. That was
Yeah.
very profound.
Yeah.
I mean, even today, it's still everybody doesn't love Islam,
Right.
right?
Right.
Everybody doesn't love Islam. So to make such a powerful stance
Mhm.
in front of the world stage, you know,
Right.
that was profound. And so for us to be able to see that and go back and see that, it is empowering and inspiring. And those photographs make it possible for us to see just what this can do.
Mhm.
And that was the moment when I started to study Gordon Parks. That was the moment that I realized that I think what has happened is all of these weird things that have happened with me in photography. I don't believe, because we are taught that belief is the absence of knowledge, of knowing.
Oh, I'm
And
sorry.
so I realize that I know that what has happened is Allah has put me on this path for a purpose that will live on far beyond me.
Mm.
And so I know that. And so
Yeah.
now when I take pictures, I do that with that in mind. That is so weird. Do you see that? No, it's on my screen. Sorry. Anyways, but no, I know that it is a calling. It's a mission. And so that's why I'm doing it.
Right.
Praises be to Allah.
Yes.
Praise be to Allah. Sister Khalila, I saw that you were trying to share something, but I don't know if
Yes. No. I was trying. I was getting it ready.
and then
It was
whoop,
overly ready. But
technical difficulty.
yes. That's all. Like,
If we're not ready to present that,
no, we're not. We're not.
Let's go with a question from the audience. This is someone familiar to you, Sister Khalila.
My big
Sister
sister.
LaShawn. Sister LaShawn asked the question here. Can you buy good quality equipment, and what good quality equipment can you buy? I guess she's asking, and what makes the picture looks good? What is the first camera and the cost? And she adds over here, like when I need to photo film of my son in a football game, how do you capture the best shot?
Those are action shots.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. So I think, and if please correct me if I'm wrong, sister, but I think what she was asking is, do you have to have quality equipment in order to take a good shot? And I love that question, because the answer is no.
Right.
You can have $25,000 worth of equipment and never take a good photo.
Right.
On the flip
Wow.
side, you can have a $20 disposable camera and take the photo of a lifetime.
Right.
Wow.
Now, good equipment helps,
Right.
of course, for clarity and pixels and all of that stuff. But it is not the equipment that makes the picture great. And on that note, I'm going to say this, and I hope that the oh my God, I hope everybody hears this. Stop telling me my camera takes good pictures. It
Mm,
doesn't do
No,
anything.
you take the good picture.
right.
Or let me rephrase that. Allah
It's
in
like,
you
let me just say this.
takes
It's the
the
same
picture.
thing as saying, you've invited me to your house for dinner and it was fantastic because your stove cooks good food. I'm the magic, not the camera.
Right, right. And
So,
it's so funny that you mentioned that. And yes, you have, and again, it's captivating when you go to, like, when I go to, like, my Jaguar games, and you have these
yes,
photographers with these big long lenses, and
yes,
you know and these, and a lot of times you just have to know what these are for.
right,
And again, the lens can be as long as Pinocchio nose, but
right.
it's the action, it's how, it's when, it's timing, it's pretty much everything.
Angles, all of that.
This is
Angles.
Danielle. That's like when the DJ gets interrupted. DJ has his set in. He's a real good DJ. Is like jamming. Knows exactly what song to play back to back to back. And somebody come. Can you play this song? Can you play that song? But the DJ has a set. The DJ is not giving any
I
credit for
know.
the way and manner in which
It's
he or she is maneuvering. Same
Right,
thing with
right.
photography.
Same
right.
thing. But to answer the sister's second part of her question,
Mhm.
she wants to take photos of her sons. So what I would suggest is you do not have to go and get a $2, $3, $4, $5, $6,000 camera. But if you want good photos, I mean, you can technically, if you have an iPhone or I don't know nothing about Android.
I'm sorry.
I
Well,
want
well,
everybody to
I got
know
an Android.
I'm
You
I got
team
an Android.
Apple. I am team Apple. But I mean, these
Danielle,
new phones
Danielle,
definitely have. Sorry.
you seen me take pictures. I have an
Yeah,
Android. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Stop
yeah.
the
I can tell.
Android hate.
I can tell. I'm just kidding.
Oh!
I just had to throw that out there for my Apple game. But
I had to. Hey,
what I was gonna say is you really can take good pictures with your phone, but if you want to invest in the camera, then what I would say is get a camera that, and you can always DM me and I can go further into this, but cameras come, you just buy when you start buying equipment, you just buy the body. So you're not getting a lens. You're just buying the camera body. But sometimes you can get cameras that come with like a kit lens. They call it a kit lens, where it's the lens that comes with it, and they're kind of like, you know what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Nobody wants a kit lens. Anyways, but it's a good thing to start with because that's what I started out with. You know, you start with a camera that has with a zoom and you're good to go. But if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to invest in that right now, then just check your settings. A lot of times people's cameras does way more than they think. They just have their settings on factory, and so
Yeah.
they don't know, but DM me and I'll help you figure out a good purchase.
Yeah, because when I take my pictures on my my Android, right? And yeah. And so,
And they're
like,
super grainy and out of focus.
well,
No, I'm
no,
just
not really. But what had happened was, and then a lot of people were like, can you set my settings? I was like, no, you can't, because I'm a real photographer for real. So your settings might not be my settings. So praise be.
right.
But with that being said, it's because me and my sister, we're pawn shoppers, right? So, and I have found a lot of, and again, knowing what you're buying,
Absolutely.
there's a lot of pawn shops that really like sell really good equipment,
And they
because
don't know what they're selling, so it's
and
cheap.
so it's very cheap, and so my suggestion is, if you want to start, go to the pawn shop,
For
get you a
sure.
nice, camera. Hey, You can DM Sister Danielle and actually take a picture of what you're going to buy and purchase, and say, "Hey, do you think that this is
Yes.
something I can start off with?" And then go from
Mhm.
there. Yeah,
Sister
And
Danielle,
another thing, I'll just throw this out there. I think this is important. When you buy used cameras that are brand new, very expensive, you think, oh, wow, I'm getting a great deal. But there is a website that you can go to that will tell you you have to take a picture from that camera, put the SD card, upload a photo to it, and it will tell you exactly how many the shutter count of the camera. So, like, for example, my camera has about an average of a 200,000 shutter count life before the shutter starts messing up. Right? So you don't want to buy a camera that's like 180,000.
Right.
It's like buying a car with 400,000 miles on it. You'll get some drive out of it, but it'll conk out on you before you want it to. So just a little.
Oh, that was definitely
Good point.
Good, yeah, very good stuff.
Sister
Yes.
Danielle, since
Yes,
we
sir.
were on the topic of, the photographer is really the one who makes the picture. I mean,
That's right.
captures. On that topic, what type of techniques do you use as a photographer? Do you prefer to blend in or to take a charge approach? Like, for example, like capturing the essence of an object. What type of techniques do you typically use? How much light do you use? The shutter speed. What type of techniques do you use when you handle photography?
So I love that question, actually, because let's go with event photography, just kind of keeping in mind with the convention, the training seminar.
Yes, ma'am.
Even at the mosque, I try real hard to just blend into the wall and like be invisible and move around. Like, I don't know if that works very well.
Not when we're doing security in the mosque, ma'am. No, ma'am.
I try.
Look, you try, and I always take a picture of you. I'm like, all right, this is Danielle. Take that picture.
I try so hard to blend in, but the thing is I have to take a take charge approach. I think for a multitude of reasons, because one, I mean, I'm a take charge person, so it's just my nature to
temple property in view.
That's right. That's right. So I have to take charge. When at the convention or any event, I did a music festival recently. I'm short. I'm 5'1". So everybody's taller than me. Every time I go anywhere, I'm the short one. Right. And so if I don't take a take charge approach, I'm not going to get the shot. So I have to take a take charge approach. And like, people are just doing what they're doing. They're not doing it to be rude. They're not doing it to be invasive or to be, to try to sabotage anything, but they're just doing what they're doing. And in the event of doing that, they block my shot. They stand in front of my lens and talk. And I'm like, hey, move, so I have to.
You have to take charge.
Oh, I have to. I absolutely have to. And so, for the record, it's not about trying to, be rude to anybody or bossy, but get out of my way. You see me here, move. But when I do that, then they move and then I get the shot. So if I didn't, if I was just like, oh, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to, then I wouldn't get the shot. So it's just like, hey, I don't, you know what I mean? Red shirt, move over there. And they're like, oh, sorry. So then I'm like, got it. Thank you.
And that's one thing about photography. That's one thing about photographers. They demand the floor. I mean, if you have been, like, I've been to New York and you will see a photographer, and soon as he pulls out or she pulls out that camera, they be like, okay,
Yeah.
you know, and it's really like, again, that take charge approach, and
Yes.
because you don't want to lose that moment.
That
'Cause
moment.
sometimes
Yeah, you
that
can't
moment,
replay the
you
moment.
can't replay the moment. You
You
can never
can't.
get it back. So yeah, you have
So
some
you
very
have
angry photographers, like, get out the way. So
you also have a lot of angry people at the photographer because they're like, she always trying to yell at some, and it's not that. It's that you have to understand that and kind of talking about event photography again, because I do love it. When you're at an event, whether it is a nation event, whether it's a music festival, whatever it is, you have to be like split, like a split personality, because you have to be disconnected from the event
right,
so that you can do what you're doing. But then you also have to be able to read the room and
That's
read the event. So you got to still be, it's like there's two things going on.
right.
And a perfect example of that, I've just put this on my Facebook like last week. I was last year was my first convention that I did photography.
Mhm.
And I was so excited that I was like really doing the most. And I had a GoPro strapped to my chest while I'm shooting. I thought this is going to be great footage. You could see the shot in the camera. This is going to be amazing. And I totally forgot about the footage for a year. I don't even mess with the GoPro. I was like, oh, let me watch this. And so I put it, oh my gosh, it's on my page. I'll repost it. The minister is 7-8 feet away from me on the stage talking, and I'm kneeling on the floor, and I'm just in awe. It's the minister.
Right,
So
right, right.
I'm like, you know, like head tilted, like, oh,
Like
and
nothing
totally
else
forgot
exists.
that I had a GoPro on my chest, and it's like on a thing that moves. So
Right.
as he's talking, you don't see his face. You see the carpet, my knees, and the entire 23 minutes of footage or whatever it is. It's my knees and me fumbling to change lenses, and I'm like, because I wasn't split. I was too focused on the event. You see, I
Yeah,
was so enamored that I thought, oh my God, I totally forgot why I was even there,
right,
you know?
right.
So that's what I mean when I say you have to disconnect.
Yeah, yeah. And
Wow.
sometimes it's very hard to do that, but but I can be like, they'd be like, oh, Kalila going, here she go. But you have to do it. It's just a
You
mandatory.
absolutely have to do it. And I think, honestly, I think it does take practice.
Oh yeah.
You have to consciously tell yourself, because I just mentioned the music festival.
Mhm.
Well, Tank was there.
Okay.
Tank.
Tank.
And I was like, I was like, you know, I've never seen him perform or anything like that. So it was awesome, but I was like, I'm not here for that.
Right.
I'm not here for the concert experience.
Right.
I need to get these shots.
Right.
So I couldn't even tell you what song he was singing. I just did what I needed to do, and then I got out of the crowd. So again, though, if you don't do that and you're sitting there like, oh my God, Tank, you know what I mean? Then you go back and you didn't get those shots.
Right.
So that is key.
Yeah.
Because it was Tank.
It was Tank. I actually saw him 3 times in concert. But the moral of that story
is that the moral of the story is it was Tank.
It was
It was Tank. But no, I think that's the key to event photography, is separating yourself from the event.
Mm-hmm.
Well, another question we have, Sister Danielle, out of curiosity, where in the community has your work been featured?
I don't even know.
maybe
I have
she
no
was doing
idea
it.
where it's floating around out there.
Were some of your pieces recently displayed on in art gallery locally?
No, those were not my pieces. I was going to say on our nation's website, the Nation of Islam Facebook page, not website, excuse me, the Nation of Islam Facebook page featured one of my photos of the minister from the convention. And that was the biggest thing in the world to me. I just want to thank whoever made that happen from the bottom of my heart, because I was like, oh my gosh. The pieces that you're talking about are a photographer here in Miami who he's Haitian and his name is Woosler Delisfort.
Yes.
And so those are those pieces, his pieces.
Yes,
He's an amazing photographer and filmmaker. And that event was the opening night at, what is it called? History Miami Museum. Am I saying that right?
I believe so.
Okay. That was the opening night at that event. And so I went to photograph some of those images that you might have seen on Instagram, but I didn't want to just take pictures of somebody else's work.
Right.
Because that's not, I wouldn't call that photography.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
No,
everybody was
absolutely.
taking pictures with their phone of his work. So I didn't want to do that. I wanted to showcase it in a different light. And because that particular artist did a piece on our local mosque here, Mosque 29, and honored us as Muslim, you know, in the Nation of Islam, because his work is based in African spirituality, or just, you know, like the different various practices of us, told by us rather than by them.
Right.
Because he highlighted us, I wanted to highlight him. And so I thought, instead of just taking the picture, I'm going to recreate it. And so that particular reel was people standing by those pieces in the same position. And then my cousins happened to be in town. And so they came to check that out. And I just was like, nobody knew what I was doing. And you were mentioning how we were talking about photographers taking charge.
Right.
And so when people don't know what you're doing, you don't see what I see. You don't have, I'm not saying you don't have vision. I'm saying I have a very particular vision. So when photographers are giving instruction, it is not about bossiness. It's, I see something and I'm not going to sit here and explain it. Just do what I'm saying. And I promise you, you're going to love it at the end. So that's what I was doing. I was trying to get everybody precisely as the photos. And I believe it was the brother Captain. I think he was getting
Captain Eric.
Because I was like, can you do your shoulder? And he was like, take the picture. I'm like, please, just please. And it was because, right, do what I say. It's like, I feel like screaming that out 100 times a day. But I wanted him to be lined up exactly as the person that he was standing by the picture. So afterward, it made perfect sense. But in the midst of doing it, it's annoying because you're like, well, why do I got to do this? And why do I got to do? And because I'm looking at you and the picture and I'm like, do this, now do this. And they get irritated with me. But, you know, everybody gets irritated with me, so I don't care.
That's the right approach to have with photography.
I mean, what are you going to do?
Praise be to Allah. So with that being said, I mean, because we've been talking about so many things, and this question, I know that it's going to be like, I know I can just hear you saying, but
I'm sitting up straight now. Yes.
What have been some of your greatest professional achievements thus far in the area of photography?
Shooting at the convention.
Shooting at the convention. Okay. Okay.
Shooting at the convention because um the laborers are there,
Mm-hmm.
the executive council,
Mm.
supreme captain,
Mm-hmm.
GM.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody's there.
Right.
And it's not a matter of this person's more important than that person.
Right.
It's not that. It's that the historical importance and the
Right.
contributions made by
Mhm.
these people
Mm-hmm.
is I'm so honored
Right.
to even
Right.
be in the room, let alone with
Right.
the camera.
Right.
I would be honored to just be nothing, no
right.
phone or nothing. So to be able to be in, capture these intimate moments where it's not them on stage talking where 400, 500, 10,000 other people are seeing the same thing. It's in these rooms where they're just mingling and talking, and their expressions and the hugs and the
Mhm.
love and the respect.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see that and you feel it, and the dignity.
Mhm.
Everybody is so dignified, but it's not like tight where you're like, it's everybody's real. And
Yeah.
what I love to do is that's why I said I like to use certain lenses that allow me to stay further back a little bit, because it's
Right.
one thing if, just say, the three of you are talking amongst yourselves and I'm 2 feet away with the camera, you're gonna, right, I'm all
Right.
right there. It's you're gonna be like, okay, this is weird, get out of my face. But if
Right.
I'm 20 feet back and you are all just laughing and talking or something serious, and I'm capturing these moments, that is huge, because in the same mind of those that recorded like the table talks,
Mm.
or just the images where Mother Clara standing by the fireplace or whatever, the mantle,
Right.
and the messengers there, like just the moments.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
I think that what happens is we forget, we put, I'm not saying we in the nation, I'm saying we people,
Right.
humans,
Mhm.
we put people in this thing where it's like we kind of forget that they're just
Oh
people,
yeah. Right.
you
Exactly.
know.
Right.
And so I have one of my favorite one of my favorite reels, and Brother Tony, you might remember this, was the colors dinner
Yes.
from last year.
Yes.
I don't know what was going on. I have no idea what they were talking about, but Minister Patrick and Brother Captain Eric were sitting at the table cracking up. I have no
I
idea
remember that.
what was
I
going on, but
remember
it was bad. Like they were laughing out of control.
And
And
you
I was
took
just clicking.
pictures of all of that.
I got, the whole, like, I was just like, and so, because the reality is it's not that these people, like the executive council and it's not that they don't deserve respect and honor, but it's like, just remember that we're all human. So we laugh, we
Right.
bust out laughing, we get tears in our eyes when we laughing too hard, or
Right.
we get a heavy emotion. All of that is human. It's the human experience. So
Mm.
regardless of your title, your position, what you do, where you live, you're
Right.
still at the core of you a human. And
Right.
that is what makes that, for me, the most important work that I do, because those images are seen where you might not see them otherwise.
Right. Right. Right.
Awesome.
Well, we have another question from our audience. Let me try to pull it up here. And Sister LaShawn is asking another question. Here we go. Let me pull it up. Sister LaShawn asks, what do I guess it means that what does Sister Danielle, what are her thoughts on all these new ways you could use the cell phones to make pictures look unreal, real fake somehow, and knowing that the phone did not really take that picture, making pictures look other than real. I'm sure, like Sister Danielle,
Filters.
bring the use of filters,
Yes.
AI. Can you
Yes.
speak a little bit about that?
Yes. I personally never use AI. I will not use AI. I have software. Anybody that does photography uses some kind of software. I use a software called Lightroom Classic, and I'm just learning Photoshop. But there's an AI feature that you just upload the photo, hit AI, and it will kind of automatically correct whatever. And I tried it just because it was a new feature, and I was like, hey, try the new feature. And it was ridiculous because, like, the skin is so smooth that it's like, okay, this is doing too much. I don't like it. I think that what it is, it gets like a little crazy. And I just want to say this because there's an image of the messenger that is a beautiful image. We've all seen it. It's like his head is kind of tilted. I don't think, no, that's not the one. He's wearing white and it's beautiful. I don't know who did it, but somebody put a filter on it. And it's ridiculous how obvious filter it is. And I think to myself, why would you do that? It's, first of all, it isn't necessary. Number one. Number two, I want to make a claim right now. And all of my photos have metadata, so it can definitely be validated. I do not edit the minister's photos. Period. Now, if the lighting was bad, I might bring up the exposure so that it's lighter, but I don't go in and touch up his face or smooth out a wrinkle. I do not do that to the minister's photos.
Yes,
to me, I just feel like that is so wrong to do. Period. I would never. At best, like I said, if the lighting, I will brighten it so that you can see the picture better, but I will not go in and, whiten teeth and no. So I personally don't do that. So any image that you see of mine, of the minister, is raw, unless I had to lighten it up. Number one. Number two, I think I've only put out 2 and I have like 100 and something. I've put 2 photos out from this year's convention where he was wearing blue. Those are 100% raw. No, I didn't even bring up the lighting. Those are straight out of the camera.
Wow.
So, yes. But with phones and stuff, I don't think there's anything wrong with tweaking your photo a little bit. A little bit. If you just really look that bad. But I think that sometimes on Instagram, it's ridiculous. And as a photographer and somebody that knows editing software, it's like you know that this don't look real, right? But
yes, ma'am.
you know what I mean? But I mean, I don't know. People just take it too far.
This is Danielle. Somebody took a selfie with me at one of our national events, and when I saw it posted on Facebook, I think it was. It was like he used the filter.
You have the filter.
Both of our faces were so smooth. I'm like, I just looked at it like this. That don't look like me.
I will admit, when I first I have had Snapchat forever, but I don't really know how to use it. But Snapchat has cool filters. And when I first found out about it, I was taking a lot of selfies with filters and stuff. But then I would take selfies, like you said, with other people, especially with his brothers, because now it's like, wait, why does his lashes look so popping?
That is hilarious.
So I was like, I can't even post this because these filters are ridiculous. So yeah,
It's surrounded by brothers whose eyelashes are popping.
Right. Not a good look. But yeah, so I think if you're going to do it, it should be subtle. I definitely don't see anything wrong with, you know, touching yourself up a little bit. Like if I photograph someone, and they have, you know, their skin is broken out or whatever, I might smooth that out a little bit. I'm not gonna make it look crazy, but
Right.
I might smooth it out a little bit, or, you know, whatever. In fact, I just uploaded in the last, well, since the convention, a particular sister, she was at the dinner and she just had like a little food in her teeth, which I didn't know when I took the photo. I didn't realize until I saw it as I upload, or as I put it into the software. And I I'm gonna edit that out, because I would never want you to put a picture up of me with food in
Right.
my teeth. So
Right.
things like that I think are fine. But going too crazy, kind of funny.
Yeah.
Looking like I'm like 12 years old or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that.
It
Yeah.
gets out of hand.
Sister Danielle, so I have this question for you, beloved.
Sure.
What are your ultimate desires when it comes down to what you want to accomplish in the field of photography? How far do you want to take it?
I want one of my images one day of the minister to make the cover of the Final Call.
Oh, we can make that. I'm just kidding.
Now, when I call you 14 times a day
Listen.
or 7 days a week, except for on Sunday, no, that's I when I think about that, when I visualize that in my mind, I get tears in my eyes. That to me would be the highest honor. You know, some photographers, like, their goal in life is to make the cover of Vogue. Their
Right.
photos on the cover of Vogue, their photos the cover of National Geographic or Time.
Mhm.
Mine is the Final Call. That is one.
Mhm.
And so, yes. Then the other one, and actually this is quite new. I never ever thought about this in a million years, until I went to that exhibit that I told you from the artist Woosler Dellisfort.
Mhm.
And as I was walking around the museum looking at his photographs on the wall, like beautifully framed and spaced out properly, and just like kind of telling a story in the order that, you know, I thought to myself, I wonder if I could have my photos on a wall in the museum one day. And so I remember thinking that, like, you know what I mean? But then in true Danielle fashion, I had to contact the curator of the event and the artist. And I'm like, what is it going to take for me to do that? Because that's exactly what I want to do. And so that is now a very real goal for me. And it's not even really like, it's not about because I'm trying to be famous.
Right.
It's not
Right.
about
Right.
that. It's because in my heart, the photos that I'm taking are so important.
Mhm.
They are
Right.
so important. And I mean, you get a really wide reach on social media, but it's one thing to look at a photo on a tiny phone screen.
Right.
And then it's another thing, even when I'm on my computer and I'm editing, which is not like I have some massive screen. I always think, gosh, I wish people would log into Instagram on their computer and look at these images on their computer. So I want to see my images blown up like these here, you know,
Yeah.
framed. And I want people to really just take it in as art, because that's what it is. Photography is an art. And for you know, photographers are artists. And so as an artist, I want my work properly displayed for people to enjoy and learn from.
I'm going to add this question, if I may, Brother Mark and Sister Kalila,
Yes, sir.
because it is an art, and we're living in the times where we get our phones, we take so many pictures, and the value of the art of photography, I think, has been diminished because we do it so much. How
Bingo.
important is it to give credit to the photographer himself or herself?
Well,
You experiencing what you've experienced.
yes, I have. So that's a kind of a two-part answer, because any artist wants, you put your heart and soul into your craft, right? Whether you're painting or sculpting or whatever you do, you want somebody to realize that it was you that put all of that work into that, right? It's like when you get a new roof on your house, right? They want that. Let me put my sign that says, ABC Roofing, leave it up for a month so that people know, So, I mean, for not just for the credit's sake, but also, from a business standpoint, because everybody that knows me knows that like business is really like my core.
Right.
And so
Right.
from a business standpoint, of course I want my work credited. I mean, I took the photo, which is why it's I've taken the measures to ensure that if anything like that happens, that if it went there, then I could take legal recourse. I'm not talking about the it's a lot of other people online
Right.
too.
Of
Right.
course.
But so but from the other side, when you're taking photographs for historic purpose and value, yeah, it would be great if in 100 years people would say Danielle Farrakhan took this photograph. That would be a huge thing. But what would be more great is if the photograph lived for 100 years, whether my name was attached to it or not.
Right. Right.
Going back to the first point, though, I am a musician. I play piano. The most famous piece of music in the world is Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. Everybody knows that piece of music. And you also know it's Beethoven. You hear the first four notes and you know that it's Beethoven. And he put his heart and his soul into that body of work. So why would you not want his name attached to it?
Right.
Why would you share my work? Why would you post my work, but fail to say this is the work of Danielle Farrakhan? Why? It seems it's questionable when I see it. I've had people crop my tag off.
Oh wow.
When I see that, I'm like, now, why would you do that? Because first of all, I gave you the photo for free. So if anything, do it out of, gratitude and respect. But it's almost like, I don't want nothing to do with you, but I'll, flaunt your work. I think that's questionable. I wouldn't do that. When I post somebody's work, if I don't know who it is, I'm like, credit to the photographer, because I'm not taking credit for the photo. This isn't mine.
Right.
So I do think that I find it's, I don't want to say I have a big problem with it, but I think it's irritating because it's really disrespectful, particularly when it's a photo of a person, not a photo that, like if you're posting a photo of the minister that I posted and whatever. But I'm saying if I take your picture and then you post your picture that I've given to you and then you don't credit me, it's just like the roofer that it's like, wait, I just came over here and did your roof, but except for I didn't take payment. So the least you can do is say this photograph is from Danielle Farrakhan. That's how I feel about that.
Right.
Man, praise be to Allah.
Awesome. Well, we have yet another question, Sister Danielle.
Okay.
and this is very educational for me as I read this about photography, and then I ask my question. In photography, a photography style can be dictated by the primary photography editing of the style, such as vibrant, light,
Yeah.
and airy. You have dark and moody, you have black and white, cinematic, etc. Do you determine your particular style of photography?
I don't know that I can put it in a box like that because
Okay.
it's so all over the place.
Yes, ma'am.
Some of my photography is very vibrant, very light, airy, very colorful. I pull the colors up as much as I can so that it will pop. Some of it is black and white.
Okay.
It just it depends on when I see the photograph, it's the energy of the photograph. The energy
Okay.
really of the photo tells me, if that makes any sense. Like
Yeah.
this needs to be in black and white.
Okay.
The
Mhm.
colors are great, and it's interesting because
I know what-
especially here in Miami, which is like one of the most colorful cities, right? Literally in the US, I think it's extremely vibrant and colorful here.
A
So
lot of
you think
graffiti
everything's
everywhere, Danielle.
oh yeah, think of South Beach, right? I mean, or
Right.
Brickell. Like it's super
Win-win.
yeah, exactly. So if you can go into a vibrant environment but feel like this needs to be timeless,
Mhm.
and therefore I'm gonna black and white it out.
Mm.
Black and white is just creme de la creme. It's
Fist bump on that, says Danielle.
fist bump. I love black and white. I love black and white. But the other night I was invited to an open studio. And an open studio is kind of like an open house, where you just kind of like walk around and check it out. And so there's a studio, or excuse me, an art complex here in Miami called Bake House. And the other night they had an open studio where there are many artists, and you just walk around the complex, and you can go in each room and check out each person's work, meet the artist, and so forth. So the artist that I was telling you about invited me to this, and these were different pieces than from the opening night event that I had photographed before. And so in that instance, I said, again, I don't want to just take pictures of this artist's work, because I can't really claim that as work. It's like if you photograph the Mona Lisa, you're not going to be like, I'm an artist and look at my work. Right? No. So I didn't want to just take a picture of the work. I wanted to this is his space. It happened to be a temporary space, I guess, but nonetheless, for the purpose of this event, this was his space. And so I wanted to capture the essence of the space of an artist. So I took the photos from angles that would allow you to see the work, but kind of not. Because I'm not really showing the work anyway. So you can see that this is some stuff, but you can't really tell, you know what I mean? And then
Right.
what I did, because his work, now he does have some black and white, but his work is extremely vibrant. It's very rich in color. So I thought to not take away from his work. I don't mean it like that, but to take your attention off of the art and
Right.
put it onto the energy of the space, I brought the colors down.
Okay.
So I brought the black up. And so there's different, so filters on
Right.
Instagram, they're called filters. In an editing software, there's things called presets. And it's similar to a filter, but it's not a filter like that. It kind of is, but it's whatever. What I did was I used a filter that's called black. It's from a collection of filters, or excuse me, presets called black. And when I put that on there, it brought the black up, and you have those
Mm.
examples.
Mhm.
It brought the black up and took the colors down. So it wasn't black and white, but it was kind of black and white, but not, because there was still color, but it was very subtle, because now you're not focused on the colorful art. You're getting a sense of what it's like as an artist to have this space and to, you know, fill this space with you.
Mm.
So that's what I tried to pull off with those photos. And so that, I would say, is dark and moody.
Okay. Okay.
Excellent.
All right. So going back, because we're gonna start taking a look at it. And this question is, I'm gonna ask the question, but we're gonna get right into the photos.
Okay.
You know, and that's the
Right.
last question. What is your favorite photos? I know you have touched bases in regards to several photos, but what are your favorite photos and why? Right.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
with that question, I want you to kind of display and talk about
Yes, ma'am.
your photos and why they are your favorites. All right.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
This is so
Yeah.
exciting.
Let's check
I
it
love
out.
this. This is so exciting.
We get to see it. We get to see it.
All right. So,
Okay.
all right.
Okay, yes. So these
Mm.
are two photos side by side. This is exactly what I was talking about. So in this first image that's on the left of the table, and then the two pieces of art on the wall, this is how the art was displayed. So as you can see, I was showing the space, but you can kind of see a little bit of some of the pictures, but not really. And so I felt like bringing those blacks up and bringing the colors down would be more captivating. And then to the right, where you see the library, that was, as you're walking to the door of his studio, that was what you saw. And so as people were coming in and out of that space, and he was, you know, just communicating with people and answering questions, I kind of would go out and try to photograph other areas. And so that was the leading you into that library. And I saw that, and I saw that as it draws you in. I feel like it's like it makes you kind of wonder, like, what's in there. And so that to me is dark and moody.
Mm.
Okay.
And this is the artist. This is Woosler Dellisford. And again, you can see the work there, but it's not the focus.
Right.
He's supposed to be the focus, his energy. So what he was actually doing in this moment was he was talking to somebody that was on the other side of that table. But as fate would have it, I didn't have a wide angle lens. And so I couldn't get that person in the shot. I could have if I would have panned left, but it wasn't about the person at all. This had nothing to do with, there was various people coming in and out. This was not about the person. This was about him. And in that moment, when he had his hand on the table that's displaying his work and kind of looking down, I saw that and I thought, this is a photo. This is a photograph. And I personally, I think it's beautiful.
Excellent.
Beautiful.
Yes. Thank you. So these, I guess, are the white and black photos. And so
wow,
this is absolutely one of my favorites. And I actually just took this, I guess it was like last month at this, last month or maybe the month before. This was at his opening night of event at the museum. This is my team from Arizona, from Phoenix. Shout out, what's up, cousin? Anyway, so as you can see, he is standing exactly like the person in the photo. This is our mosque here, mosque number 29.
yes.
Now, what you might not be able to see unless you zoom in on the photo is Martine's thumb if you notice, as he's got his hand like this, his thumb is kind of, I don't know if you can
Right.
see, but I
Yeah.
told him to do that because that's how the brother's thumb was in that shot. So
Mm.
he's standing precisely just as that brother is standing. And
Wow.
I wanted it to be black and white. There's a whole reel that is attached to this, and I wish it could play at the end of this or whatever, but I just, this to me was just beautiful. And he
Yeah.
just did it so, he killed it. I mean, this is
Yes,
perfect.
he did. Yeah,
He did.
he did.
This is a
Mm.
shot that I took in Las Vegas. I had just recently purchased this camera, and I wanted to get some street photography because I follow a lot of street photographers, and I love that because they'll just go up to people and say, you know, hi, my name is Danielle Farrakhan. I'm a street photographer. I like to take pictures. Well, I wanted to do that, but I just, every time that I went to do it, I kept feeling like I wasn't supposed to do that.
Mm.
Probably because it's Las Vegas, right?
Right.
Number one. Number two, because I was doing this, I'm like walking around by myself with several $1,000s worth of equipment in Las Vegas. So I didn't go to the strip. And then the other thing was, I don't like the strip. The strip is beautiful with, in the sense of the colors and the flashing lights and stuff.
Right.
I don't personally, I am, everybody that knows me knows this, but I am hypersensitive. And I don't want to be walking around people that everybody's like drunk and, you know, looking for sexy girls and stuff. I didn't want that. So what I did was I went to Fremont Street. And I don't know if anybody's been to Vegas, but Fremont Street,
I've been to
it's, yeah, it's not quite the strip. It's a little further north,
Right.
and it's just a different vibe. And it was probably 10 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, it's, you know, it was a weekday. I don't remember what day, but it was a weekday. And so it was a little bit more passive. And so I just wanted to take photos. And I noticed, while I wanted to try to get photos of people that were, you know, doing their thing, you know, on the strip, there was a lot of poverty. And that, I was drawn straight to that. And so I thought, you know, we have millions and millions and millions of dollars right here in this little area of town, but then we have people that have nothing. And so that's what I started to try to capture. The homelessness in the very wealthy city.
Sister Danielle, do you normally title or name your art?
You know what? That is such a great question, because no, but I just realized like 4 or 5 days ago, literally, that I need to start doing that.
Yeah.
And you know what? I was watching something on YouTube about Annie Leibovitz, who is an amazing photographer. I mean, she's a legend in the photography world. And I was they were kind of scrolling through her work, and then they were calling it out. Like, I don't know, they were like, this is, you know, Summer in the Sand. And this is, you know, and I was like, oh, wow. So she's naming these. And then I thought about it. I was like, everybody does that.
Right.
So I was like, I need to start doing that. So get ready, world, because I'm getting ready to start naming my photos.
Yeah.
This one, oh, I love this one, because this was from
We Were in the Street.
Yes, was it? I can't remember. We were feeding the homeless.
Feeding the homeless, feeding our people that were in need.
Yes, thank you.
That's,
and
may I name the brothers?
Please, because you know I don't. Yes, please.
That's our beloved student regional investigator, Brother Thomas 2X on the left side.
Yes.
Student regional captain Eric 2X.
Yes, sir.
Brother Carl Muhammad, former regional captain.
Yes.
And there's also Brother Andre 2X, who currently, I believe, is in Flint, Michigan.
Yes.
Originally, so you can shoot in camera on a setting that allows you to shoot in black and white. And I will admit that I just literally found that out like 7 or 8 days ago. So I didn't know that. I was like, oh my gosh. So what you can do though is in, post-production when you're editing is you can make it black and white. And so I always loved this photo because you know why? Because it reminds me of the photo from when Dr. Martin Luther King was shot.
Oh, they were pointing.
Yes. And
Yes.
I think about that photo when I see this one. And originally, of course, it was in color. And the colors were actually really beautiful, like really beautiful, because there's the beautiful green trees behind them and everything. But I was like, I kept thinking of that photograph from the balcony. And I was like, I want this to be timeless like that. So I felt like this is a time when black and white was.
Excellent choice.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Praise be to Allah.
Favorites.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
This is my favorite photo of all time. Right here.
Man.
Wow.
I took this in front of my house. I love hummingbirds. I had never seen a hummingbird like up close in my life. I even one time bought hummingbird feeders when I lived in Denver to try to get them to come. I had tons of bird feeders, but I got hummingbird feeders because I wanted hummingbird. Because have you ever seen the stuff on like social media where somebody's like holding like 10 birds in their hand? I'm like, why doesn't stuff like that ever happen to me? So so I was like, I wanted to like draw hummingbirds to me because I just think that they're so beautiful and peaceful. And for me, hummingbirds are so light. It just like, I don't know, it just kind of takes the stress away.
Right.
And so one day I probably had my camera 2 or 3 weeks. And I was like, is that a hummingbird? I just pulled into my garage and I realized that it was right there in front of my house. And I started photographing it. And I was angry at myself because if you look at the wings are not perfectly still. They're a little bit blurred because I was still learning shutter speed. But either way, the beak is in the flower and I captured this. So I did the lighting in a way that instead of it be bright and vibrant or black and white, I didn't want it to be bright and vibrant. And I certainly didn't want it to be black and white. I wanted it to be nostalgic. So I wanted it to look old, but I wanted it to, because for me, this was a moment
Victorian,
in my life.
like a Victorian type of.
Yes, like it reminds me of like if you pulled out like somebody's old photo album from the 80s.
Right.
And so because this was a moment
kind of reminds
in my
me
life,
like a Magnolia type.
Oh, yes. I love magnolias, by the way.
Yes.
I do. But yes, so this was a very special moment for me. And I was like, I don't even think like I said, I would have to double check, but I don't even think I had my camera a month and I captured that. And so this is my most favorite photo right here.
Wow. All right.
And then this one, I want everybody watching to know that I love to photograph the minister. It is really, really one of the greatest honors of my life. That I mean.
Yes.
That being said,
come on.
I love nothing more than photographing Minister Villa. He's my favorite. I love photographing him because he loves when I photograph him. So it's like as soon as the mosque is over, he looks at me and I look at him. It's like photo time. I love it. But of all of my photos of him, and I have many, this one is my favorite because this was, of course, the final call when with the minister's birthday. Isn't that right, Brother Tony?
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Yes. And so he was holding it up, and I was tossed up between who's going to be the subject? Do I make the paper the subject? And because the way I had the f-stop or aperture set, it's a shallow depth of field.
Right.
And so I was like, who's going to be the subject? And then I was like, obviously it has to be Minister Via. So I love this picture. This is my favorite. I hope he watches this, because this one is one of my favorite. This is going in my portfolio of portfolios.
All right.
Look at that picture right there.
Woo!
Wow.
I mean,
That is so beautiful.
Amazing.
Oh,
what can I say?
I mean, you just
this
look
is raw.
at it and just like stare and just like look and just stare and just like pass me my water, because I'm gonna be here for like an hour or two just staring.
I will
Just
share
studying.
with you.
oh,
Remember when I told you last year that when I was photographing, I kind of forgot what I was even doing, and I just was like in a gaze? Well, this year I told myself not to do that, and to be we don't know if this is the last time that we will have the minister
Right.
at a convention.
Right.
So with that in mind, it was like, you can't mess this up.
Right.
You cannot mess this up.
Right.
And
right.
so I debated on whether or not I was going to bring it. And I said, because I didn't bring it the last year. And so, because I was like, it's too much, it's doing too much. Everybody's going to be like, here she goes, doing too much. But I did. I brought it. And I was like, I'm going to get the shot of my life with this. And I brought this lens with me. I don't even know if you can see the whole thing because it's on the. There we go.
My Lord, is that thing nuclear?
I know. So I have, and this is a 200 to 600 millimeter lens that is primarily used in sports photography or wildlife. Wildlife, because it allows you to photograph your subject at a safe distance.
It's still
right. You can get a really beautiful close-up shot of a lion or a tiger or whatever at a safe distance. Sports, because you don't have the option to get close all the time if they're 100 yards down the field or whatever.
You're going to get hit by a ball.
Right, exactly. So I didn't bring it last time. And the other reason that I didn't bring it was because I was like, this is going to make my luggage so heavy. But I thought about it and I said, I was very conscious of the fact that we really don't have any idea how much time we have left. And if we listen to what he says, then we know that it is not much.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm bringing it. And so I had a chest harness that allows me to carry this like on my chest. And so I had 35 pounds, literally 30 or 35 pounds worth of equipment strapped to me at the event. That's why I was like sweating to death. But I was like, I need to have whatever I need to get the shot. And this is one of two that I have released, and I might at some point release some others. But when I took this picture, I had the camera, this lens was on this camera, and I was looking through the viewfinder, and I was calling on Allah, asking him to dry my tears because I couldn't really focus good with my eyes, because I was like, because I had tears in my eyes because I could not believe that he blessed me with the opportunity not only to be there. I was sitting, there was nobody between us. It was, I was right in front of him. I mean, when I say right in front of him, I mean he was however many feet away, but there was nobody sitting in front of me.
No
I was
obstruction.
kneeling on the mat, and I was just like, I can't believe that I have this opportunity, and I was like, I just was shooting with tears in my eyes, and this was the product.
Wow.
Wow. Beautiful.
Praise due to
Nice.
Allah.
Yes, indeed.
Oh,
Look at that one right there.
Mm.
This one's from last year, and I mean, what can I say?
Yes.
How would you feel if you took that picture?
Yeah.
How would you feel?
Come on.
This picture gives me so much joy.
God.
It gives me so much. Every time I see it, I'm just like, yes,
Yes.
I love that photograph.
I
I hope that everybody loves that photograph as much as me.
Listen,
Absolutely.
it's like you know, it's like
You got mother there too.
the minister is like saying thank you. It's like he's
Oh.
saying thank you.
Right.
You
Lisa,
know,
don't make me cry. I just
girl,
got
I'm
my
already
lashes
there,
done.
child. Y'all just don't sit behind the glasses, child. I'm already there. I'm a real
But can we just
crybaby.
and before
I'm a
you go,
real crybaby.
I am the worst, and I'm telling you, my lashes are too new for you to be doing me like this.
But that's
Can
what
we
it's
just talk about the
saying.
minister Kazals real fast?
Yes.
Them Kazals are doing it.
Listen, you see, I got my gazelles on. When I saw your
You
picture,
know what I'm talking about?
I had to put mine on. You see my gazelles?
Man, I'm like, what is going on with the eyewear? Yes.
Oh my
Them are the
God.
ones. But
Oh.
okay. And I have my sunglass collection is way out of control. So stuff like that is just like gets me.
Girl, you gotta see mine. Mine's are, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
It's ridiculous.
I love it. Listen, it don't matter what you have on.
Ugh.
If you got on some stunners.
That's a whole look. That's a whole.
Well, we digress. Let's have another show next week, and we gonna talk about shades.
Wow.
How shade.
Oh my goodness! I'm sorry. Okay. So yes, that's one of my favorite photographs.
So much. Oh man.
Yes.
Oh,
So this one
okay.
this was also during, I don't know if it was the same day necessarily, but remember how I told you I would go to Fremont Street because I didn't want to be on the Strip. This was at Fremont Street, and I had just started walking back to my car because my car was parked in some little weird parking lot. And so I was walking back to my car, and I guess I just wasn't satisfied. I was like, I could see my car, and I just wasn't satisfied. I didn't feel like I got anything. And I just turned around, and these two people were talking, and they were so close. And I just was like this for a long time. I didn't shoot anything because I was waiting. I thought that they were going to kiss. And so I wanted to capture that, but they didn't. The whole time they just were standing there talking that closely. And I did the same effect, if you notice, with the hummingbird. It's that same nostalgic kind of colors and soft, like old look. Because I just loved the chemistry and the energy between them. Because imagine speaking to somebody that closely. You have to, your guard is completely down. Your walls are completely down. You completely trust them. You completely feel safe in that space. I don't want nobody talking to me that close. You know what I mean? So that it said something about their connection.
They were the only ones on the planet at that moment.
Exactly. And as fate would have it, nobody was in the shot. And that's why I be saying, get out of my shot. Move. Get out of my shot. You're ruining my life. So this is why
You know?
This is
Wait,
why I freak out when people get in my shot, because luckily nobody was in my shot, and look at what happened.
That is beautiful. I mean, that
Yeah.
picture can say so many things.
oh yeah.
It can say, like, this will be the last. I just
Yeah.
want to see your eyes just for the last
Yes.
time.
I
And just
pray
be,
one day they will find this photo. I don't know who these
yes,
people are, but I mean, you know, again, I almost wanted to go up and get their contact information, but you got to be so funny doing that. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
yeah,
Especially in Vegas.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So I didn't, but you know, if it's meant, they will somehow be like, "Is that you? Is that me?" You know,
Right.
I think about that sometimes. So, but that's definitely one of my most favorite photos.
You don't know if they're saying hello or goodbye.
Right.
Look at this.
Oh, now this one here, this brother, this is the photo.
Okay.
This is the photo. This photo is so cold. I
Yeah,
have
it
had
is
more
cold.
people contact me, believe it or not. I've had more people reach out to me about this photo. Like this, you know, when you play in a video game, this is a final boss right here.
Right,
This
right.
is the last level.
You're like, okay,
You
how
gotta
far am I
beat
gonna get
him.
right here?
Yeah, like it. I mean, it's just perfect. I mean,
Right.
what really would have done it? Now, this is a time where you might think about, like, I won't, but another photographer might use the AI and just completely clear out that background, right? Not touch him, but just those people in the background,
Right,
just,
right.
you know, Photoshop them out. And I might do that one day just for myself, just to see what it looks like. But this is the actual photo. I mean, just look at him, his strong face, his position. You know, when you stand with your hands behind your back like that, it's like it's a confidence,
Right.
you know, and it's also like you're hiding your weapons. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't think they're not here because you can't see them. You know, and then even his belt was laying just right, and the red popped against the white, and I was like, oh my god, this is the money shot right here. This is a book cover to me, or a poster. And so now this was something I couldn't black and white, because that red in his belt hits way too hard, and it
Right.
needs to be seen. And so just, you know, the beautiful color of his skin, even against that like kind of cream background, this is it right here. This is the shot.
But you know what, Danielle? You might can do a black and white shot and then highlight that belt. Just have that thing just straight red.
Red.
I have done that. I have done that with other things where everything is black and white, but the red. Like
Right.
I've done that. Yes, I have a photograph actually where I was at this park near the water, and this man was sitting at a bench looking out. He had no idea I took the photo, but he had something on the bench next to him that was red, and I did that, and it looked beautiful. So, but yeah, this brother, that is the shot.
Yeah.
And FYI, I'm going to be at the black belt thing this weekend. I totally forgot what it's called. Sorry. It's a black belt thing. But anyway, I want to I want to get some I love martial arts, like, deeply. And so I wanted to be able to try to get some more stuff like that. But the thing, I'll just say this very quickly. The thing about this photo that makes it so cool is this brother wasn't posing. Remember when I said when people pose, it's you kind of mess it up a little bit.
Right.
But he was just standing like that. That's how he was watching what was going on. So I was like, oh my gosh. It's not like I said, hey, hit a pose, and then he did that.
He just looks
He
like
was
one
just-
of the 23 scientists. He's like one of them.
24.
Yeah, right?
24.
Like Last Dragon and
Right,
Shonuff and
right.
I'm just kidding. No, but
Michael
Right.
yeah, but no, like that's what I really loved about it, is because he did not hit that pose. He was just watching the event, And that's how he was, and I captured that. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is very, very, very like dope. I'm probably not supposed to use that word, but I couldn't think of another one. It just kind of came out.
Dope fiends. The head.
My bad.
Yeah.
What would have been a better word instead of dope? I didn't mean to say that. Sorry. Oh, portraits. Oh, I'm so, yes. So,
and I please, a disclaimer, but go ahead.
okay, yeah, no, it's okay. It's just distorted because I think it was like put together, but whatever. It's perfectly fine because this is a perfect example. So Brother Solaritus on the right? So when I did that set of portraits, I was a certain distance from the person. I would say maybe 18 inches from their face, or maybe a little bit more, 20, 22. But as I was looking at the photos, I wasn't satisfied because I wanted to do close-up portraits to really pull you into that person. But at that distance where I was when I was doing the shots, and I probably have 20, 30 shots at the same distance that you see Brother Solaritus. And they're great photos. All of them are wonderful photos. This is a great photo of him, but I wanted to get closer. I wanted to get right up in everybody's face. And so I said, what I did was with Brother Solaritus there, that was the first day of the seminar and, the convention. And so like everybody was sitting at long tables and I just literally went down the row. Like, can I take your portrait? Everybody started getting more excited. I think a couple people were like, no, I don't want to. So I was like, okay, fine. But as they saw it, they were like, yeah. So I was like, just, kind of moving down the line. But then as I looked at the images, I was like, I should have gotten closer. So, and with, please help me out. Oh my gosh, this is Regional Captain
Anthony.
What is his name?
Anthony.
Does anybody know? Anthony? Okay, thank you. Regional Captain Anthony. So I was like, may I take your portrait? He said, yes, of course. I said, if you don't mind, I'm going to get very close with the lens. So when I took that set of portraits, as you can see, it's considerably closer. As I took that set, I was probably, the lens from the person's face was maybe 8 inches, maybe 9. It was like right up in their face, maybe 7, 8 inch, something like that. And so when I do that, I don't take the picture right away. I have to find the focus, right? And find the focal point, because if you really look at the very close images, you'll see the brother's nose and lips, they're not quite in focus. The focal point was his eye, and more specifically, his left, or from our view, right eye. So if you really look, that is tack sharp. No matter how much you zoom in, it won't blur. But so it takes a moment. So then once I get the focus, then I take the shot. But I'm in your face for 20 seconds or 30 seconds or whatever. And so the reason that these images mean so much to me is because for you to allow me, kind of going back to that last picture where the couple was talking very close, for you to allow me that close in your space and to be that relaxed is a level of trust, right? Not like I'm going to get in your face and do something, but what if I lost my balance and hit you with the lens by mistake?
Right.
You know what I mean? People don't even think about any of that. They're just like, go right ahead. And so that meant so much to me, that all of these people, brothers, sisters, were letting me get this close to their face so that I could capture these shots. So I appreciate it. And
You want me to
lastly,
go
a
back?
funny story.
Last one.
It's you don't have to, but when I was doing these uh portraits, again, I'm 5'1", right? So some of these brothers are very tall. And so I'm like, you know, like I can't think of anybody's name, but just imagine some of the people. Go look and see who I'm talking about. You'll see some of the people. So I'm like, excuse me, brother, if you don't mind, can I take your picture and can I do your portrait? And they're like, sure, go right ahead. And I said, but it's going to kind of require me to get real close with the lens. Is that okay? No, do what you got to do. I'm like, okay, but the problem is you're really tall. You know, they're like standing there like strong brothers, strong, you know. And I'm like, I just need you, if you could just squat down for me and and they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I just need you to come down to eye level with me. And so they're like, oh man. So they like squat down, hurry up and take the picture, because they're like hands on their knees and squat down. And I'm like, I'm doing as fast as I can. Let me find the focus. But it was funny because it was like everybody was just letting me, just allowing me to do my thing. And it's priceless. It's priceless, and I'm grateful. So thank you to all the super tall brothers that embarrassed themselves and squatted down in front of everybody so I could get these shots. It means the world to me. Thank you.
Shout out to the tall brothers.
Praises be to Allah. Well, moving right along really swiftly, because this has been an awesome show. We have at every end of the show, we have what we call the knowledge corner. And with knowledge, as we always indicate, when you gain knowledge, you gain power. And our knowledge corner title or segue is actually a beautiful thing, because why photography is a vibe, right? So I'm going to have my dear brother Mark, to just kind of explain why it is such a vibe and why you love it so much, why, you know, this is going to be one of my, hopefully, hobbies one day, inshallah. But why is such a vibe, Brother Mark?
Why is photography a vibe? So many reasons, but let's name a few. Photography is a vibe because of mental health. Photography can help improve mental health and well-being by boosting confidence, self-esteem, and memory. It can also help with decision-making and mindfulness, and can be a therapeutic activity that helps with depression and anxiety. It's a vibe because of creativity. Photography is an art form that activates the brain's creative visual areas, which can help clear the mind. It's also because of physical activity. Photography can promote physical activity. Also, you have connections. Photography can help foster connections. Also, cost efficiencies. For businesses, hiring a professional photographer can be cost efficient compared to hiring individual photographers for each event. Then you have memorable impressions. Professional event photography can create memorable visuals that leave a lasting impression on attendees. You have media coverage. Professional event photography can provide media outlets with visuals that can lead to potential coverage. Basically, photography is an important tool for preserving memories and telling stories. Images let individuals relate to one another and also shed light on the past. Taking up photography is great because it forces you to document your experiences. And that is our knowledge corner for today. Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing.
Yeah,
one more thing. One more thing. The importance of photography simply lies in the fact that without it, we wouldn't be able to preserve memories of important moments of our lives in history. Think for a moment of some of the most influential images ever taken. These photos are much more than simple pictures. They represent the world humanity and us. And that is our Knowledge Corner.
Praises be to Allah. Going back to that humanity, that human. So, Sister Danielle, any last words?
Thank you, first of all, for even thinking of me
Thank
to
you.
be on here to discuss all of what we've talked about. This has really been wonderful. I love photography very much, and I appreciate the opportunity to just to sort of share a little bit about my journey. So thank you, first of all. To anybody that you, Sister Kalila, anybody who
Yes.
wants to do photography, who wants to get into photography, I would tell you this. The moment that whether you could use your phone, the moment that you start taking pictures and really see yourself as a photographer, that's when you're a photographer. You're not a photographer because you've booked X amount of show or gigs or whatever. It's not that. It's not about whether you get paid this much or you get paid at all. I feel like a photographer is somebody that takes pictures with passion. So it doesn't matter if you get paid, what you get paid. And yes, there's a technical aspect, and you do need to learn that. You need to learn lighting. You need to learn all of that stuff, the rule of thirds, leading lines, shadows. You need to learn all of that. But really, the most important thing that I would say to anybody that wants to become a photographer, besides take pictures every chance you get, is understand that your mind is a muscle. And whatever you do, the more you work the muscle, the stronger it will become. So when even when I'm not taking pictures, when I'm out and about, I now look at stuff and I say, where's the shot? So what you see in movies when people are being dramatic and they're going like this, that we thought it was dramatic, but actually they're really looking for a shot. And you should do that every chance you get, because you will train your mind to see the shot. Because you have people out there that are not photographers that got lucky and got a crazy great shot. But the reason that some photographers are incredible, it's because they understand what composition is and what makes the shot the shot. And there's a lot involved in that. So to train your mind to see the shot, even when you're just sitting in your living room. If I'm sitting right here right now and I want to take a killer shot, what is the shot? Just think about it all the time. And you will get better and better. And don't be afraid to post your work, because people are going to say something, even if it's amazing. Trust me.
Right.
Trust me. Somebody's gonna pop up and critique it, and you're like, thanks, I didn't even ask you that.
Right.
So just shoot as much as you can, shoot everywhere, shoot everyone.
Right.
I probably shouldn't have said it that way.
No, you want to
photograph everyone.
Photograph.
Yeah, but no, for real, shoot everywhere. Go, like, take pictures of everything. My first photograph that I got when I got my camera, I turned my faucet on and I was taking pictures of the water. I just wanted to see if I could get it in focus. What happens if I change the f-stop to this or that? Shoot everything. Because when you are dead and gone, and your children are dead and gone, and their children are dead and gone, those photos will live. And so take those photos like you want somebody in 500 years to, the way we listen to Beethoven's Fifth, 500 years after he wrote it,
Mhm.
think that maybe 500 years from now, somebody will look at that photograph.
Don't take
All
the
right.
moment lightly. We are living.
That's right.
here, Sister Danielle.
That's right. And last but not least, do not be afraid to push physically your way to the front to get the shot.
Mm.
You could be mad at me later, but I'm going to get this shot.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
We can have a
Yeah.
talk afterwards.
Yes. Yeah, we can talk about it later. I love you, but don't be afraid to tell people to move out your way neither.
Uh-huh.
Look, you got Sister
Just-
Ivanka bearing witness.
That's my sister right there. That's my sister right there. I love you, Sister Ivanka. For real, for real. She's an
Yeah.
amazing photographer.
Oh, of course.
And she's an amazing photographer. And she and I have talked about how being a woman
Mhm. Mhm.
photographer is a whole nother thing,
Mhm.
let alone being short.
Right.
You just get totally. If I had $1 every time somebody stepped in front of my lens, you know. But you know what though? When you speak up for yourself, they'll get out of the way.
Right.
So,
And with that being said, speaking of getting out of the way, we don't want you to get out of the way, but we want you to do this.
We want your support.
We want your support,
Th-
Brother
look-
Tony.
look,
Yes,
family,
indeed.
this is a labor of love, but look, everything real, finances are real.
That's right. That's right.
StreamYard is not free. These platforms that we use are not free. We need your support. We thank you for whatever you're able to donate here tonight and anytime. You can make a Cash App donation at 7th Region Coalition 29, and may Allah God continue to bless you and your families. Any denomination is appreciated. If you could just do a few dollars, that's fine. If you want to put 5 on it,
55, 50.
Come on, $50, 340.
That's right.
$50 on it, $100.
Come on, $1,200.
$10,000 if you got it.
Y'all watching this on
Hey.
them $1,700 iPhone 15 Pro Max, so I know you got $200.
That part.
We're gonna put it to some good use, and we thank you for your support.
Yes.
To Allah. All
And on
right, we
that
had a
note-
full show. Brother Tony, close us out.
Look, in the immortal words of Brother Lyle,
Yeah.
Brother
Lady tuning in.
Lyle.
Talk to
Hey.
us.
We're not a clique, we're not a gang, we're not a crew. Who are we? We're the
are
7th
the
Region
7th Region
Coalition to
Coalition.
help save lives. Throw up your set, Brother Mark. Assalamu alaikum.